broadcasting directly to, it's preparing me to go to YouTube, and then this says the content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. I want you, and the meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. I got it, so I got that part. I want to also, I have another program called Loom, Loom, and I want to start recording there as well. So this way it allows me multiple problems. Okay, so I'm recording. I want to thank you for sharing your evening with me, and I'm looking forward to have some interesting parts. First, I wanted to introduce Dylan Melnick, who we see, and as I said before, how I work is I reach out to my students that seem to be most interested and really succeed well. And in the beginning, have them be, when they're in my class already, if they like to be what I call my teaching assistants in training, and they work with other students that have been with me before to help other students. What I see is this world really needs to help one another, and sometimes everyone has their own strengths, and we want to help each other, and so we can collaborate well. So Dylan is joining me for the first part. In the announcements, Dylan, you put in the announcements, people have your email and phone, and you would like them to reach out to you how?
Text is preferable.
Okay, to text to Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan took this course before. He's a data analytics student, and he's what I really admire about Dylan, if I can toot your horn, Dylan, is one is he has such a positive attitude. Number one, that makes all the difference in the world. And number two, he's really interested in learning. As a matter of fact, Dylan, you remember when you asked me about internships? Remind me, I may have
Yes. Yeah.
another possible internships even here in the city of Coral Gables. I'm an advisor to the city of Coral Gables in their innovation team. So they have a data analytics department
Okay.
right here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have them come in, the head of the innovation team, and that way you can meet him and see if, if you'd like to work with him, and I'll give you a strong recommendation that
Yeah, that would be awesome.
they do data analytics, and they're really interested. Anytime I have I always give them guidance on all my crazy ideas using hardware and software and artificial intelligence. So they're always up for it. So I'll invite them as well. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
in a couple of months, I'm going to be giving presentation where they call IT Expo and Generative AI. I'll be a guest speaker, and I'm going to I've invited one of their top people that's doing the metaverse and digital twins also in there. So I'll invite them. So remind me about that. And then Daniel is in my other class, and Daniel has a lot of experience in technology, and I've asked Daniel this semester, and he's graciously said that. Isn't that great? In just even the first class, to be a teacher assistant in training, basically to be my second arm, and he's volunteered to also be in this class. So Daniel, you want to just introduce yourself to
Sure.
the class?
Hi guys. I'm a sophomore, and I'm a business tech major, finance. Dylan's gonna post my email, so if you need anything, message me or Dylan.
Isn't that great that we kind of help each other? And I think that is, I'm just so excited over there. And sometimes you feel this way. I like it, and many times because I have a different view than you guys have. It's almost good to see, hey, in the student's point of view, this is where I'm getting stuck. Or sometimes I've even found out that some students don't feel as comfortable reaching out. So why not have all the resources that we can? So let me know on that. The only thing I tell you on all my assistants is don't abuse their generosity. You understand? And as you can see, those of you, any of you that are interested in possibly working with me and that training, I'm more than happy to discuss that with you. Okay, so Daniel, you'll be doing that. And then in this case, Dylan, if you can work on that next exercise, and do you have time maybe at the end of this class that we can meet, or around 8?
Yeah, that should work. Yeah,
What time?
I can be back here to 8.
Yeah, so be back here. We can do that. We'll end a little bit early, but be back here at 8, and then we can look at that next exercise, and then we can finish up.
Awesome.
Okay, great. And Daniel, if you can stand by, and then if you have it. So Isabel, you're going to be on the moderation, and Daniel, if you want to take over also on the chat.
Sure.
So then if there are certain questions people have, or something that I need to know about, unmic yourself and let me know. Okay, anyone that is new here that hasn't been here, we're fine. Okay, so Michael, you got everything up and going. Okay, so let's get started. We're recording, we're here, and I want to get us past the administration, kind of like the busy work, and get into interesting topics. So the first thing is I'm going to share my screen. And everything that I do, I want you to be able to do fluidly. For instance, when I'm going to be broadcasting, recording to the cloud, doing live on YouTube, what I'd like you to do even is to see if you could go ahead and establish a YouTube channel, not using the University of Miami account, but using like your Gmail account or something like that, your personal account, and establish a YouTube channel. And then we'll, on Wednesday, we'll even try to do Zoom and try to have you guys also publish to broadcast live to Zoom. We'll try it out. So I'm sharing my screen. You guys see my screen? Isabel, you see it? Okay, perfect. So Isabel, do you see yourself? Great. Okay. You see any difference between what I have here in real time versus the YouTube? What's the difference, Isabel?
Delayed.
Delayed. Is that important, you think, Isabel?
Yeah.
It depends on what it is, right? If it's just talking heads and then later on somebody's viewing it, it may not be different. It may be different if we're going to be singing in a choir and everybody's going to be in separate places. That's going to be important. But at least we can see that. And that's why I want everybody to look good, right? Gary, you look, in this case, you look great. You see in the middle here, your chin is a little bit cut off, so you can adjust the camera. We can see everybody's camera, and we're ready to go. But just so you know that we're in Zoom, and you can see that I speak with my hands, and my hands, I know one thing good when I speak with my hands is that you can see the delay even more. Okay, so we're in section K. If you ever send an email to anyone in this class, mention that you were at the 6:30 or section K part. And if you see here, we're always getting into Zoom. Zoom has an API, and let me just put in here API. So Sedge, when I say API, and if we don't know what those API stands for, what should we do, Sedge? Look it up, right? And everybody should look it up. Even though I put it in, Michael, I'm showing you how we're doing in class. When I announce something, there's so much terminology here. The beauty here is in some classes, they say, oh, you can't use the computer. That's the opposite in this class. In some classes, they say you can't use ChatGPT or Bard. In this class, I want you to use all those tools. In some classes, they say, I don't want you to use Google. I can't. So what is, in this case, it said, did you find out what that stands for? And then one is, what is it and who cares?
Yeah, it says it's application programming interface.
Okay, perfect. So now everybody knows what the words are. And then my next question, which is more important, Sedge, is who cares, right? What is it and who cares and what does it help us make better decisions? So you want to take a stab at it?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it says that it refers to any type of software that has a distinct function, or it can be thought of as a contract of service between two applications and
Right.
how to communicate with each other.
Perfect. So the idea is I'm going through, when I'm sharing my screen, we did YouTube, right? Remember, we're on YouTube as well. YouTube is owned by whom? What company? In this case, what company owns YouTube? Michael Russo. Who owns, do you know?
Google.
Google owns that. And Zoom is another company. So through Zoom, we can broadcast live to YouTube. So that idea of connecting Zoom and Google, Zoom and YouTube creates what? An application programming interface that Blackboard says, hey, Zoom, and also Blackboard, right? When we go to Zoom here and look for upcoming meetings, that's also integrated. So Zoom is integrated with Google, and Zoom is integrated or an application program interface with Blackboard. When you ask what was Michael Russo, when you were asking before, send me the link, I said, go through Blackboard. But really, I could send you the link through Zoom, but in this case, it's through Blackboard. So that's the application. It's a programming interface that we have. So if you go to Blackboard, go to the Zoom meetings, you'll see I have something different than you do because I'm the professor, I'm the instructor. I have a different role in Blackboard than you do. You have the student role, I have the instructor role, but do you have these tabs, Michael? And do you see something called cloud recordings? Michael Russo.
Yeah, I see it.
Click on it. And what do you see?
The previous recording from the
previous recording. Yeah, so if you missed the class or you weren't sure, you could actually go through these. Okay? And in Zoom, so I have this. So I know that anytime I want to look at past recordings, I can go to Zoom meetings. I can see the new one that everybody is able to do, and I can go to cloud recording and I can see that. Fine. The other part, we'll do attendance at the end of the class, is the course syllabus. And the only thing I want to emphasize again to everybody, you can read through the course syllabus and you can see we have the Wiley Plus. The main point I want to encourage everybody to know that is important, right? We have 2 exams, each of them worth 20%, exam 1 and exam 2. And what is the key here, Cole, is what? That exam 1 and 2 will be located where? In person. We will meet for exam 1 and 2, Cole, right? So we'll meet in the School of Business. I'll give you more details, but everybody make sure that you know that you don't do, this is before spring break. So if you're going to be gone 3-6, go take another class, because on March 6th, we're having exam 1 in person, and on April 17th, we'll have exam 2 in person. Later on, we'll figure that out. Any questions? Okay. So we got that part done. Okay. And then the second part that we have here is we always want to go to what's due. When in doubt, let me turn this off. When in doubt of what's due, you can see here, January 24th, before the class, which is on Wednesday, you need to do the Wiley Plus adaptive assignment. And Victoria, have you done it already?
No, I haven't. It wouldn't let me access it, I think, because I use Safari, but I can try through
Okay,
Chrome.
so try while we're doing it, go to Google, download Google and try it during the time. Isn't that beautiful that we can get feedback, Victoria, right away rather than waiting another week? And one of the things is you want to reach out even to the teaching assistants we have now in this class. You have Daniel's information that he's able to help, and then the others. And if they don't, we kind of like pass it around to find the information. So go ahead and do that now, Victoria, and see if that solves the problem. It may not, right? But that's one issue that and then you can announce, then you can help everyone else. That's the beauty here, okay? So we have the Wiley Plus and we have Quiz One. We need to update the Miami Zoom account, and we have to subscribe to the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. Did you do the 14-day, Victoria? Did you sign up for the 14-day? Did it work?
Oh, me?
Yes, Victoria.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so we'll
did.
see what it is. So we'll see so go ahead and try it again and see what the issue is. Okay, that we have the issue. So we have the what's due. So we know that this is going to be due on Wednesday. So we want to make sure that we get this done. And we see that we want to subscribe to the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. We'll do that. And at this point, we have Wiley Plus. And Matt, did you get Wiley Plus to work? Did you do the Wiley Plus?
Yeah, I got it up today.
Okay, and did you do the assignment?
No, I still haven't done it.
Okay, so
Wanna get
at
it
least
done
you
tonight.
got it in. Okay, but we'll
Yeah.
see. So I'm in chapter 1 of Wiley Plus. What role am I then, Matt? I'm the role of the instructor, right? And you're the role of the students. There's a number of different things here. One is you can see here, once you get it up and running, if you click on any of these sections, right? And even if you click on it, Matt, one of your sections, it comes back. Do you get the textbook, Matt, when you click
Yeah, I
on
did
it?
get. Yeah, I got the textbook
Okay,
here.
so you basically what you need to do is you need to gather that information.
Right.
One of the things, Matt, in this class is I'm assuming that my students can read. And what I want to do is not, and we have limited time together. So what I want to do is not concentrate and spoon feed you in reading, but rather spend time on what I think is important, what you don't get from the book, and also what is not clear. So Matt, when you're reading through this and going through this, if there's something that's not clear to you, what I expect from you, Matt, is to ask in the questions and see what we have. So you can see here, there's the things like the difference between data, information, and knowledge, right? The data, if we think about stock market data, could be all the prices of all the symbols, right? That could be, Daniel, all the symbols. And information, it could be basically telling you what the open and the close of a certain stock is. And the knowledge that we accumulate would be then what were the top 7 equity symbols that did well this year, last year, and what were they? It ended up, Daniel. What did you find that which stock symbols really went up quite a bit last year?
NVIDIA, AMD, Meta, mostly AI-based stuff.
AI-based stuff. Microsoft is now the most valuable company, right, Daniel?
Oh yeah, Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, and why?
OpenAI, ChatGPT.
Yeah, OpenAI, ChatGPT, they invested 50% of that company, and all of a sudden, Microsoft became a winner from the losers to the winners, right? Just because the market really got so excited about it. So we'll see in terms of knowledge. The question becomes then, Daniel, is we know what the past is, but does the past in terms of the stock market always predict what's going to happen in the future?
It can, but no, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Sometimes all those winners, it's gone up way too high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll look at it, and that's the question here of it, and that's what people are having. So you see the difference. What the difference is I'd like you to look at this table here, folks. And if we look at this table here, you can see this is an example, considering this example of data versus information versus knowledge. That we have here the data of a GPA, the data, the information this is just data 3.16, right? But this is the person's name and their, according to their GPA, and the knowledge is what are their job prospects, or what are we going to forecast, or the idea with the stock. So these are the differences that you need to know, the difference between the data versus the information versus the knowledge. So you can go through also computer-based systems. We know that it's going to consist of the hardware, the software, database, a collection of files. So if we have the registrar, right, has all our student databases. The School of Business has files on you. The different departments have files on you. The network of how do you connect into, for instance, we go on to the network at the University of Miami. When we use their Wi-Fi, they always let us know, because are they following us? Jalen, do you think the university, when you sign into the network, the university network, do they have permission to track what you're doing?
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Did you ever see when sometimes you get onto the network, they give a little sign?
Yeah.
I've had students in the past that were quite entrepreneurial. They were using the university systems to do kind of stretch the limits on Facebook. And they basically had the FBI after them. And how did they find out about them in that case? Jalen, is basically they even kind of didn't even sign in with their own login number, but everybody has like an IP address, a MAC address, and they found them. And they came to me and says it was a student from Hong Kong. And we had an attorney who was in computer security come as a guest speaker. And we contacted him and said, how much trouble is he in? Will he be able to leave? But they got him so much that they used his Chinese name that he never even uses for the university. So you have to be careful in terms of those procedures. And the idea here is procedures are those instructions of those information systems. So those procedures a lot of times have to abide by the network. You see that we have those logins. So they're basically, just so you know, is when you're on the system. And even, this is interesting, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm given a computer, a laptop from the university. And Daniel, before I pick up the computer, because it's part of my job, they said, well, this is going to go to IT. And what do you think they do when they said your computer, before we give it to you, goes to IT? What do you think they do?
I'm sure they put tracking software of some sort on there.
Not only do they put tracking software on that, but when I bring this home, all my other computers that are not university computers, but are on my network.
Yeah, they can probably see some stuff from there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So you understand? So you think, why am I telling you that? One is that we're always being watched. That's what I tell everybody. We all better behave, because there are there are cameras everywhere, but so much so I had some computer science, Dan, I had some computer science professors that just said, I don't want I don't want the university's computers.
Yep. I can imagine doing that.
Right. You know what I mean? But just so you know, as soon as you are on the university's network, when you use their Wi-Fi, you can be tracked. And what are all those hackers love? They love university computers. Why? Why do you think, Daniel? Do they love
Open
it?
internet, so it's you can see what they're doing. There's no
Well, they're not
encryption.
even so concerned about what you're doing, but what? They want to get a handle on your computer. They'll put a bot that you don't even know, and then they can hack other computers using your computer.
Yeah.
And that it's scary. You know, after we go through this class, we all want to be under the mattress, you know what I mean? But anyways, we got to still live. But that's why they love university, because everybody's on the network. Think about it, Sophie. Everybody's on the network. You don't even know if there's a bot on your computer. And what they're doing is they're hacking basically other computers using your system. Because what do they want? They want like a swarm of computers. One or two does nothing. But think about it. We have 10,000 students.
It's a lot.
Right? It's 10,000 students, and then we can go and hack all together, and we can make, you know, like little swarms, right? Little bots, right? Swarming and denial of service, all these kind of things that we can do. So that's kind of interesting on those aspects. But what I'm trying to show you here is this is what I want you to be reading, and things like this where I'll focus in something like that. One that I see before is that you see you have it here at the end, these summaries that you can look at, and then you describe where they have then these discussing ways in which you can do that. All right, so you have that for chapter 1, talking about the information systems, and then you have video lessons. These video lessons are done by the author of the book. So in this case, Caden, if you want to view these and you feel like you want to view these, you can view these. But you know what, Caden? That's up to you. However you learn the material is fine. If you have questions, Caden, reach out and let me know when we're doing it and say, well, listen, Dr. Rush, you know what? I'm not sure what they mean by enterprise resource planning versus something else.
Okay.
And then they have flashcards, Caden. And when you go to the flashcards, I would use the flashcards a lot of times for studying for the test, because what they have here, you can choose the chapter you want, and then you can do a quiz, and they give you questions, and then you can answer the quiz on your own. And you can do that with other people or not, but you have that choice.
Okay, thank you.
So that's a way in which you can do it. A special form of IS information that supports all managers and organizations. You know, it's this long thing. So this way is an easy way. But guess what? On that part, Caden, too, it's up to you. I'm giving you like the materials, you can do it. But what is required is the adaptive assignments for every chapter that I assign. And once you do that, in this case, going in the adaptive assignment, there's what they call a dashboard. And in the dashboard, what they give is we always have something, which I'm going to use these terms, is right here. The need to know. In security terms, in information systems, if you need to know 3 words when you're going to be supervising anybody in an organization, is do they have the need to know? So for instance, if that's the case, Gary, in that case, I need to know your grades, all my students' grades in my class. And you need to know what, Gary, in my class, in terms of grades?
Excuse me, I don't know.
What do you need
What
to know?
grades?
If you're in my class, right? You register for my class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to know everybody else's grades.
No,
So you need to know what?
my grade.
Your grades. So the information systems administration has to give you what? Permission to see your own grades, but only your grades. I need to get permission to see everybody's grades in my class. you're taking other classes, Gary, right? What other class are you taking? Before this class, what are you taking? What, did you have another
Microeconomics.
economics? Do I need to know your economics scores?
No.
No. Now, maybe if your advisor, right, would need to know that, but I don't need to know that. So sometimes advisors, sometimes people in, it's interesting, people in sports teams, when I see my blackboard, I'll have one person in a sports team, and then I'll have like 4 other people assigned to that one student. Do you understand? So all their tutors, all their folks, you know, they're getting a scholarship. As they sign up and get on a sports team and get a scholarship, Gary, they're signing off saying somebody will be tracking them. They're giving permission for that, to be on the team, to get all those perks and also maybe all those wounds, right? They're going to have to do that. Now, when I open the assignment, I am what role, Gary? I am the instructor. So I should see what you're doing or what everyone in my class is doing.
What everyone in the class is doing.
Yeah, so that's called the dashboard based on the role. So I see here, chapter 1, I see 21 students haven't started the assignment, right? I've seen 7 students completed it. 3 students are in progress. So I know at least then 28, about 31 students have at least gotten Wiley Plus. Did you get Wiley Plus? Did you sign on, Gary?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so at least we got that part. And then if I go to students, so then they tell me in general, what was the average time spent on each one? How many questions did each person do? Giving me an overall. And then what they say is drilling down in a dashboard, and you'll hear that term, right? The dashboard is my role, and drill down goes to specifics. One is I get it based on what, Gary? Role. So at this point, when I go to students, notice, Gary, who's number 1? Aren't you glad you're number 1 here, right, Gary?
Yeah.
Not because your last name is Austin, right? But, and it shows, it gives me an overview. And why is that important for information systems? Is that it would give then a manager, for instance, to actually say the same thing. Who are my best salesmen? Who are struggling? The whole idea, it basically, wouldn't it be great in education where the AI bots were looking at it and reaching out to you instead of a person even, and saying to you, Gary, are you not started because you're having issues, or you're having issues with your browser? You remember, like Victorian things like that? And we can see here. And then we see Seth. Seth, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, I hear you fine. So Seth, I see that you're in progress. That's what it says here. And then is Tommy here? Gallagher?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. So Tommy, congratulations. You finished already. What's nice about it, you're conscientious. You got it done. So you can see here, and then Caden also, and Sophie, we can do shout outs, right? And Alejandro, and Camelia, and Aiden, and Isabel. Okay, so this is the problem. The others are not behind because it's not due, but I gave it a little bit more time because of, you know, people coming in and out. But I wanted you to see this, to see and use it as an information system. So what is a dashboard? One belonging to me is a role of instructor. So I have that of the open assignment. I can have that done. Okay, if there's anything that I need to know. So that's always go to the end and see the adaptive assignment. The other part where you can see here is you can see the web links that we talked about before. Here is how you want to get that 14-day with Wiley Plus. The New York Times and Wall Street subscription you want to get, and every week you want to preview that to be able to get a hold of what's happening in this tech world. I want us to go beyond concepts, but basically see how's the future going to happen to us, and the future is going to happen real quick. I think this, based on, I've been in information systems in this computer world for a number of years, and I've seen the ups and downs of places. I'll tell you stories. I originally used to be good friends with the first person that created a spreadsheet, and at that time his name is Daniel Brinklin, and he's a good friend of mine, and he used to take me to we used to go to these conferences together, and he used to say, let me take you to some of these parties. And, we went to one party, he took me to, and it's small and you had to keep it secret because, the press would come. One time, what was interesting, when this is way back when, before you guys were even born. And basically it was going to be one guy. He no longer even, he's the one that, you have a camera, right? In this case, Joshua, you have a camera in your phone. He basically designed the first camera in the phone, this guy. So he was a kind of flamboyant guy from France. And he basically, his name is Philippe Kahn. And he says, I'll buy the pizza, we'll have a fun. And then he said, there's going to be another guy there. And that other guy's name was Bill Gates. And this is why I'm telling you the stories. You can see how much wisdom I had. And basically, when I was there, Bill Gates was sitting next to me. And we had an argument about how much we should charge for software. And I turned, and we were arguing, this guy that I really thought was brilliant, his name was Philippe Kahn. He says, it should be $49. And this other guy named Bill Gates says, no, I think it's $500. That's what we just charged. And I turned to my friend. This was before Bill Gates went public, and the thing, I turned to my friend and I said, what an idiot. So you can see how bad my forecasting ability is, right? So I'm saying, look at me and look at Bill Gates. So anyways, and now where's Microsoft, Daniel? I mean, it's the most valuable company in the world, right? So, and my friend that invented the spreadsheet, right? Everybody's using a spreadsheet. He was at Harvard at the time getting his MBA, and he came up with this idea that they were doing, and he was taking the finance class, all of my finance people, and they were doing it with a calculator and things like that. And this was when the personal computer's coming out, and he says to the professor, he raises his hand and goes, I could create a program that could do this. And the professor, this is a Harvard professor, so I don't feel so bad how stupid I am. He says to my friend Dan, he says, you invent that. He goes, no business person is ever going to be using computers. So these are the kind of things that sometimes you shouldn't listen to your professors too much. That's my goal here. But anyway, so once I'm sharing my screen, is once we do this, we can then go to you subscribe to it, New York Times and Wall Street Journal, and then you'll see in the journal, always go just into basically go to basically where they're talking about the tech. If I go to the Wall Street Journal, you want to go to the tech section. And the two parts of the tech section in the Wall Street I would look at is artificial intelligence, because that's going to be booming, and we'll talk about that a lot. Like, should you use ChatGPT for medical advice? I always use those Googles and stuff for all my medical stuff. I don't know about you. And here's another one, how AI can find the perfect movies, TV shows, and books. You know, we always have all those recommendations, you know, from Amazon and others. And basically, Alexa and Siri should be improved, you know. And then you see cybersecurity, what we're talking about. And what's scary here is Microsoft reports hacked by nation state actor. This always scares you, you know. Intelligent researchers to study computer code for clues to hackers' identities. So in one sense, they're trying to find you. In other sense, hackers are trying to do it. Cyber leaders with tight budgets must still secure AI in the cloud. So this is it. Comcast, you know, the Xfinity, 36 million accounts were compromised. Did you know that our university, all our health data last year was compromised? How many people knew that? A lot of people, they don't like to advertise that, but some states require it. So some people found, you know, data in those black databases, and the SEC, Securities and Exchange, cyber rules loom over public properties, you know, so there's all this cyber that needs to be talked about. So I want every week, kind of like maybe on the weekend, go ahead and take a version of it. Also, this is the miami.edu you should be familiar with. And for Wednesday, you should look at then this zoom.miami.edu, right? So let's open that in a new tab. Everybody open it up for yourself, and you'll get a version of everybody knows that you get a professional version of Zoom. So in this case, you'll look at the settings, right, that you'll be able to see, and look at the settings of what settings are available to you in Zoom. So look at that for Wednesday. And then we have the web links. We went through Wiley Plus, and then we have assignments and quizzes. So under assignments and quizzes, Sophie, did you do this yet?
I did not.
Okay, so you know under assignments and quizzes, you have quiz chapter 1. Okay. And Michael, what is it? Wessels? How do you pronounce your last name, Mike?
Wessels, yep.
Wessels. Have you done this?
I have not, no.
Okay, so you know you have chapter 1, and in this case, Matt, how many times can you take this quiz?
I think just multiple attempts, right? Like you take it a few times.
2 times. And
Okay.
your second time counts. You know what I mean? If you want to do it 1 time, that's fine. If you want to do it 2, and you get better on your first and the second counts. Okay? And then you'll do that quiz, which is due on Wednesday. And then the PowerPoints, you can then view the PowerPoints just as you did before. On these, you can view PowerPoints as well. So you can go through the PowerPoints you remember when we were going through the capabilities, perform, high speed, the type, right? The accounting, finance, HR stands for what, Joshua? What does HR stand for?
I'm not sure.
Okay, and when we say we're not sure, what do we do in this class?
Sorry, human resources.
Okay. Right, human resources. What do? We look it up, right? Nobody's sure of everything, right, Destiny? So the idea is when we talk about it, so there's functional areas and information systems. There's accounting information systems. All of you guys are a lot of you guys are finance major. Well, you think you're doing it by hand? No, there's financial data that's a part of it. Operations, marketing. I have marketing majors here in HR. It really looks in a lot of ways like the business school departments. And then we have enterprise resource planning. And what's an enterprise? An enterprise is an organization. So in this case, Ella, is the university an enterprise?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yes.
Okay, it's an organization. Is the university an organization?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is an enterprise. So basically, what does that mean? Do they have many departments, Ella?
Yes.
Yes. What is your major, Ella?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship is within. Do you think there's an entrepreneurship program? Do you think they have data about you and others, right? And there's certain professors, right? And that's within what? The management department?
Yeah.
Right. So basically, are they a system? What do they have? They have students and they have what? They have professors and they have people that are working there. Do they have your GPA, Ella?
Yes, they do.
They do. So there's going to be somebody. Does the registrar have your GPA?
Yes.
Right. So there are a number of people. And when you go through admissions, they have your old information, right? All those systems then, and then they have recruiting information as part of it. And employees basically need a payroll, right? And they need all their benefits, right? To keep track of all their benefits, their taxes. So there's part of the enterprise resource planning. It's going to be across all the university. And do you think basically your data is going to be duplicate? Yes. So sometimes what they do in these enterprise resource planning is they basically, in a way in which your data that's duplicate can be stored in one place, so we don't have to repeat it. So if you move, Ella, what happens? In this case, then, it could then basically not have to be updated 20 different times. So that's what they call enterprise resource planning. And transaction processing systems, Destiny, is that if you go, have you ever bought an airline ticket, Destiny?
No, I haven't.
Okay, have you ever gone on a plane?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the ticket needs to be bought, right? So somebody had to buy that ticket, right? Who bought that ticket?
One of my parents bought it for me.
Okay, one of your parents bought it for you. When they assign that ticket, it basically is in real time, right? That you want to get that seat, right? They want to make sure that that they get that seat for you, right? And then if you ever, when you ever go to a grocery store and buy something, right? Each of your purchases is a transaction. And basically what we have then is an inventory. They take it out. So that seat in the airline, they take it out of inventory because do they ever overbook on an airline, on a flight? Have you ever seen any overbooking, Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do they do it intentionally, you think? Or was the system broken when they overbook?
I mean, it could have gone either way, I guess.
They basically do it intentionally, right? So if you think about it, Evan, what happens? Do they overbook intentionally?
Think they do.
Okay, why?
So that if people cancel.
Right, people cancel, right? Do they want to fly with a full flight or a few seats empty?
Full flight.
Evan. They want to go a full flight, right? If they want to go a full flight, then that's what it needs to be. So they do it intentionally. And they have forecasting where they say, we expect 10% or 5% cancel on us, never show up, or they don't even cancel. They just don't show up. So what do? They overbook. And sometimes what do they have to do? They have to call out and say, we're over full today. Anybody want to get off and we'll give you an extra free flight or something. So they basically talk about then is then the support of those information systems, that we have something like this, where we have this cloud, Charlie. You see this cloud where I have in front of me?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, and what does that mean? This cloud. And then here's another cloud. What does that mean? Got any clue?
Everything like branching off that one cloud's the internet, like everything
It's
functions
the
off the internet.
internet, right? A cloud is basically, how do I get to the cloud? Via a browser. So if I think about via a browser, right? Via the browser, then I'm able to get to the internet, and they draw that as the cloud. So all your software a lot of time is residing on the cloud. What does that mean? For instance, do you store some pictures? Right? Where do you store it? Have you ever heard that you store it in the cloud? iCloud? You ever heard of that, Charlie?
Yeah, I keep pictures in the cloud.
Yeah. So what does that mean? It means that it's stored on a server, on a computer somewhere else, not on your computer, but somebody else's computer, whether it's Apple's or Google's. Just like when you upload to YouTube, right? You're storing it on a cloud, that internet. So this is what they're talking about on the information systems of doing that online payments. Right here, those pictures mean you can interpret it as it's being stored, it's being run on another computer, and the way that you or an organization have access to it, Charlie, is via what? A browser. Wiley Plus is a cloud-based system, right? You need to go through the internet to do it. Blackboard, right, Charlie, is cloud-based. How do you get to it? Via the internet. Okay, so this is what you need to do for all those systems and all those products, the chapters. That's how we'll do that. Questions? So how am I doing in this case? Isabel, are there any chat questions that I need to address? So everybody understands. So what's due, Isabel, for next Wednesday? I'm going to be taking attendance too, so we're not going to leave yet, but what's due then?
The Wiley Plus.
The Wiley Plus on the adaptive assignment. And a good technique is to say, if you're having problems, try to use Chrome. Number one. Number two is what? What else do we need to do? Is that all? Isabel?
Ask other people.
No, but I'm saying what else is due for Wednesday?
Oh,
where do you find it? Under what's due, right?
Yeah, update your Zoom account.
Mm-hmm. And do the other quiz and the quizzes, right? You have two times to do that.
Subscribe to the New York Times
Right.
and Wall Street.
Okay. And then what we'll do on Wednesday is we'll break up into groups and we'll do a collaborative assignment together. Okay. Any other questions before we take attendance? Sophie, how'd it go?
I understand everything.
Perfect. Okay. Great. So let's take attendance first. Okay. And then hopefully everybody's here. Let me share the screen. And I can take this away. Well, I don't need to save this. And now I need to go to, I'm in section K. I need attendance. Let's see if something's going to launch. I need to go to check-in. Let's see here. Check-in. I'm going to start check-in. I'm going to need a PIN. And it's 3730. Okay, so once you check in, once you've gotten your attendance. We finished formally for the class, and we'll meet on Wednesday to do an assignment together. And we'll see how it works. And maybe we'll try it out, that maybe one day will be kind of lecture and the other day will be hands-on assignment. Alejandro, it's okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Have a good day too. Have a good evening.
My attendance is not working.
What is the issue?
It's just like, I don't know, the system won't load.
Okay, so maybe what you can do is, what browser are you on?
Right now, I'm on Safari.
Okay, so maybe what you can do is get in another,
There's also a
online.
Blackboard app.
What?
There's also a Blackboard app if you want to try that.
Okay.
That's super useful.
Have you, I've heard students have problems with it. Did you have
It
problems?
works for me.
It works for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So try the app or try to do like Chrome browser, you know?
It just loaded on the computer now.
Okay. You know, stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's that's one thing we learn in this class is stuff happens. And how do you get around it?
Yeah.
And not to get too upset by it. Just try to reach out and find out how do we work around it and how do we document it. So the good thing is you were on screen too. So you know what I mean? You could go to the recordings always as documentation and say, look, see, here I am on YouTube.
All right, well,
Right?
thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me end check-in here and stop
On the
sharing.
YouTube, yeah.
Okay, and let me just stop all